guys, so it is a very miserable and dark day today, so I've tried to find the brightest part of the house just to film this intro for you. So I just wanted to do a quick intro to say what is bonding, why have we got 13 half wild rabbits, and what are half wild rabbits. So I will talk more about this in coming videos, but very briefly, when we moved the rescue and had a lot more space, one of the things I really wanted to do was have a sanctuary group for half wild rabbits. These are rabbits who are typically too wild to live in normal domestic homes and too domestic to live in the wild. They are still half domestic and would not survive in the wild. So often these rabbits come about from domestic rabbits being dumped and stray, and they're mating with wild rabbits, and then these half wild rabbits are created. Some of them do well in domestic homes, but even then usually some pretty drastic measures need to be in place to make sure that they're safe and happy and all their needs are met. But for these 13 guys, they definitely wouldn't suit normal living like a normal domestic rabbit would. So the plan is to bond these 13 rabbits together and create a really highly enriching wild environment with really low contact with humans, which is super safe and predator proof and meets all their needs and safety requirements. So that's something that I really wanted to do when the rescue moved and when we had the space that allowed us to do that. So when the word got out there, it was not hard to find 13 half wild rabbits who needed our help. There's 4 different groups and they were all in desperate need of a sanctuary space like us, and we had people come and contact us and ask if we had space, and it's landed at 13, which is an unlucky number for some. So in terms of bonding, bonding is a process that all rabbits need to go through to be able to live together in pairs or groups. So companionship is completely vital for the welfare of any rabbit, and all rabbits must be in at least a pair or a group. So the bigger the group, the more it is natural to the species of rabbits and the more safe they feel typically. So especially with half wild rabbits, that feels even more important because they obviously have that wild side of them, which makes trying to create a life closer to what it would be for their wild friends is even more important. So 13 seems like a good number. It's a big group, but it's not hopefully too overwhelming as our first starting size of the group. So bonding is where you go through a process to allow the rabbits to live together safely together. So rabbits are really territorial and they need to go through this quite strict process to be able to live together safely and to work out the hierarchy and to work out how they are going to live together in a way that is beneficial for everyone. There are lots of different methods for bonding. Some are clearly unethical and some I believe are unethical, and the method that we push everybody to do is 24/7 bonding. You start in a fairly small space but not tiny. They should be able to move around a little bit and to be able to get away from each other. It should be a small controlled space which over time gets bigger. They are together 24/7 until it's either decided that the rabbits are not compatible and need to be separated, or that or you can leave them together unsupervised. So that's the method I will use to bond these rabbits. And you'll see as you watch this video that there will be a few times when there'll be like a voiceover from future me, just explaining what's going on a little bit, because at the time of bonding was of course stressful, because it is unfortunately most of the time it's quite stressful to do this and to see the rabbits stressed, and to work out what's the right thing to do at the right time can be difficult. So I'm not always explaining as I go because I'm really watching their behaviours. So you will hear some inserted clips from me just explaining what's going on as we watch. So I hope you enjoy this video and find it useful. I think you'll all be nice because people are nicer on YouTube than they are on Facebook. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Hi everyone, so it's the day where we are bonding the half wild group of 13 rabbits. So I'm just about to put them in. I'm going to put you to one side. Please excuse some bad camera angles. The main thing is these guys, so I'm not going to be thinking too much about filming, especially at the beginning. But I thought it'd be interesting for you to watch the initial meeting. I'm feeling I'd say very anxious just about this initial, like, is it gonna be just a fight from the beginning, and then what are we gonna do from that point? But let's see, we don't know yet.
Good. Why people will say that.
Wait, no, stop. 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 Okay, I think the initial chaos is over. My heart is beating fast. It's gone okay. It's gone well. It's gone about as I expected, I think, with a couple of scuffles, but that's so to be expected. I was worried about basically them all just fighting, and that's not happened. I feel glad now that we've started and it's not horrendous from the outset. What's wrong? So we're about 4 hours in, and I think so far so good. I'm not at the point of being seriously concerned yet because it hasn't been too long, but about half of them are really happy moving around and eating, and about half of them are not. So I'm going to put down the first big handful of forage and see if that sparks any fights or disagreements, and see if we can get some of the more nervous ones eating. So I can't be completely sure, but I think that is all of them eating apart from these two here, this one and this one. And those are the two that are the most nervous. So So just keep an eye on them, but like I said, it's still early days, and they're breathing fast, but they're not like hugely distressed. All of those are fine, basically. I don't think they've realised that food's gone down. So this guy, who the colours look a bit different on camera, but I believe this one is Dumbo. He is probably the biggest troublemaker. There's another one. I think it's one of these two, who's a little bit hard work, but Dumbo is the one who is like actively causing issues and going out to chase and nip, and just would be a little bit much for some of the others, but it's like not at all extreme or anything. And these guys are sticking together a little bit more than, so these four are the Disney babies, and they're not babies anymore, but they are sticking together a lot more than the others, who are all a bit more integrated with each other. This one, this one, this one, and you. Those are the wicked four who you've seen the most on the vlogs, and they are really integrating with everybody. And well, actually that one is, and that's Fiora, who is still quite nervous, but they're all integrating quite well. And the three from Vicky, which are this one, and this one, they are doing really well. One of them's a little bit of a monkey, but not much, nothing too worrying. And a lot of them are really comfortable, like grooming without looking what everyone else is doing. As you can see, quite a lot of them are eating. Those guys have been eating for sure. So yeah, overall doing really well. Just like to see these two at the end getting a little bit more confident, but still early days. So what you are about to see is mostly chasing, and it's only at the very end when you see me intervene where it becomes something I'm uncomfortable with letting go. And up until that point, it just looks more dramatic than it is because of the small space and the amount of rabbits in there. Oi, stop now. That one thinks they're hiding. I actually think there's somebody under there. So as you can probably imagine, I found those chasing episodes really stressful and difficult to supervise. It was hard to gauge when was right to intervene and when it was right to let them be, especially with so many different rabbits to watch at one point. For the progression of the bond, it is just as important to know when to sit back and allow behaviours to happen as it is to know when to intervene and keep the rabbits safe. It's him, he's just a bit of a problem. Right, is that everyone going to be calm for a bit now that Dumbo's lied down? This little guy I feel most sorry for. So in these moments I was watching so carefully to make sure that nothing was getting out of control. Again, if you go back and watch carefully, you'll see that it was just nipping, chasing, and nothing was escalating. And it was actually making me really pleased to see the way that they would de-escalate the situation on their own. Good morning. This definitely feels a bit too intimate. We made it through the night. It's about 9:30 now because I couldn't find my camera. But we made it through the night. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. So the main change is that Dumbo has given up being a Dumbo. We now have who I believe is Zazu, and she is the new Dumbo, and she is nipping everyone, chasing everyone, and just being a little bit of a nuisance. But she's definitely a half-arsed nuisance. She's and she gives up as soon as Dumbo gets in her way, and Dumbo's not really doing anything back. But when she's chased everyone, everyone's going mad, and Dumbo can't be bothered. When she gets to him and becomes face to face, and there's like a tiny moment of like slight tension, and then it just completely dissipates, and she just gives up. So I think Dumbo is still kind of in charge, and it's just Zazu's just pushing it a little bit. Yeah, I think there's been no fights. We haven't had to intervene at all. Rob did the first shift until 1:30, so I've had a bit of sleep from like 9 till 1:30, which was good. And we've not had to intervene. I think, yeah, the chasing has calmed down a little bit, generally just with Dumbo stepping to one side, and I'm happy with how they're going. Let's see how this day goes. So it's now time to clean them out, and I don't know how this is going to go, so let me see if I can pop you somewhere. So one of these has not eaten since we put them in yesterday, so unfortunately I'm going to have to grab them and try to get some critical care and gut stimulants down. So wish me luck. I know, sweetheart. It's okay. I know. These half-wild rabbits, I cannot explain to you, I know, how difficult they are to handle. This one in particular is just so frightened. I know, sweetheart, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. It's okay. I know this is going to cause you more stress, isn't it? Imagine if I realise I've just done the wrong one. No, I'm quite confident. There's that little guy there. He's going to be Mr. Popular now because everyone's going to want to eat what he's been eating. I've decided to bite the bullet and expand. Let's have a look. So I felt like the big ones in particular were just getting really frustrated in the smaller space. And that was causing a lot of the chasing and nipping and humping. So we've got a bigger space. This is faster than I would go with a normal domestic bond, but I think in this case they just needed a little bit more space, and there were so many rabbits in here. This is obviously a lot bigger than it would be if you were just bonding a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5. So they've also got more sticks and a couple of enrichment bits just to keep them a little bit more busy. And it felt like the scuffles and chasing previously, it wasn't about space at all. It wasn't them trying to like guard certain areas of the pen. It was just boredom, because the instigator, who's normally either Dumbo or Flounder or Zazu, they would just be so chilled afterwards. They weren't really doing it because out of any sort of real anger. It was just they needed something to do. Morning guys, so I am at the stressed and overwhelmed part of this bond. They've all in all, they are doing great, but it's just a lot. It's just, I find it really overstimulating, and when they all are chasing each other at the same time, which you've seen, it's so hard to watch them and work out what's going on, because it's just there's so many rabbits moving, and they all look so similar when they're all just in a complete chaos of chasing and just being on edge 24/7 is just really taking its toll. But back to the rabbits, they are doing really well. As you can see, we've expanded again. The pen is quite long now. Yeah, they are doing well. There's very few real fights. Flounder is the main problem. Dumbo is really settled down. Flounder and Zazu are the main kind of instigators. But similarly to Dumbo, it's not very antagonistic. It is quite they don't really have much better to do, and I feel like they are really smart, and they're just getting really bored in here because they just don't have the enrichment that they need. So I'm moving much faster than I would do with a normal bond of domestic rabbits. I really think that the key to this bond is not going too slow, because I think that's just when the difficult behaviours increase, and I think we just need to keep moving in the direction that we're going. So today we're going to set up a pen outside of the stables, just ready to hopefully move them out tomorrow. You see, that was like a binky from Dumbo then. But sometimes binkies and expressions of happiness are taken the wrong way by another rabbit if they're just a bit too close at that moment. But that's because they're in such close quarters. So it's easy to misunderstand a happy flick for a not so happy flick. Yeah, I just thought I'd update you on the size increase, and we'll see how we get on today. Today is day 3. Yeah, let's see how they get on. So as you can see, it is now the next day and I decided to just go for it and get them set up in a larger pen in one of the new stables. They're very happy. That you saw a little head flick there from Zazu. Yep, Zazu. And yeah, generally they're doing really well. I did check over each rabbit as I put them into carriers to bring them over, and there's only one really minor injury. Not two very minor injuries, which I think is pretty good going with a group of this size, and yeah, having to be a little bit more hands off than I would normally. So far so good. So thankfully this was the right thing to do at the right time. There was no increase in negative behaviours and they really enjoyed using their energy to explore the space and dig around in the new fresh straw and hay, and everyone's getting on really well with each other and they're really happy.